Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a good day so far. Might not be good afternoon if you're actually overseas, so good morning if it's morning. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Sam. Hope you're all well. Quite a few people coming into what would you call it? It's not the waiting room. I think it's just the into the webinar at the moment. So we'll give it a little sec. But as Sam and Andrew have very kindly demonstrated, there is always the chat in Zoom for you to announce, say hello, ask a question um, in there to everybody. So the chats I will try and monitor as the webinar goes along. But there's also the Q&A feature that is built into Zoom as well, so you can ask questions that way. Hello again, Shahrazad. Nice to see you again. Yeah, I'm getting some good fans this year. It's great to have you all aboard. This is uh, a deep dive session of Pro Study, which I'm quite looking forward to doing because we don't do these very often. I think we'd like to kind of keep it a bit short and sweet with you guys so you can just kind of get a quick overview and then get on with your day. But there is always demand for this, and the proof is in the pudding because there's a lot of you already here into the session. So I'm really excited that you guys want to see a bit of a longer deep dive into the ins and outs of Pro Study. And that's been a running theme for this month, actually. I will show you. Obviously, at Avantida, we're always up to something, aren't we? But we've made the deep dives. Well, we did both. We did lightning sessions at the beginning of the week because we thought everyone's busy getting back into the new year. And then we did deep dives like this week and last week. And in fact, I'll be deep diving again tomorrow, Thursday, not tomorrow, on Thursday for Learnable. But even between now and Thursday, there's still two other webinars that you might want to go to. You can have a look at LightKey and LightKey Medical. You can have a look at the Dragon and the Dragon e-learning system as well. That's on Thursday morning, and this one's at the same time again on Thursday afternoon. And then Friday, there's even, in fact, actually, that's in person at BET. So if you're going to BET, go and see Mary for the TextAid live presentation. And then in the afternoon, there's an iView demonstration as well. And I will be heading on a plane come Tuesday, and I will be at the ATIA event in Orlando as well. So yes, it's all go at the moment, which is very exciting. But if you want to come see us in person, see us virtually, then the events and webinar link is where you need to go. So I'll just put that out there to you guys. All good. Cool. That is all the introductions out of the way. We're going to get started. As we said, this is a deep dive session. So what I want to do is basically kind of show you, well, first introduce you to ProStudy, tell you what it is, what it does, how it supports people. Then I want to show you how it's set up. So how you register, how you install an extension, and then we'll go into creating a project, selecting the project, and using all the features that ProStudy has to offer. So this is being recorded, and that means basically so you can watch this back again. If you're an AT trainer, this would be a great resource for you to use. I will be following up with this tomorrow. And you can download it from the Zoom website with the link as well. So, this is a resource that you can keep if you want to really get, explore those little bits and pieces. And I'll show you some websites that we've got where you can actually find some further video assistance too. So let's start off with the presentation first and just kind of reintroduce ProStudy, maybe for the first time or maybe as a refresher for you guys. So what is ProStudy? ProStudy is a research, organizing, and referencing tool. How do I remember that? It's written on the logo. It's a centralized approach to collecting and organizing research from multiple sources. And that's why it was created, because we don't get a huge amount of support when it comes to Um, we're going to get a lot of support when it comes to kind of collecting information from multiple sources. I think when you are at university or at college, or if you've got to write an essay, a report, or a dissertation, you're going to be researching everywhere. You're going to be researching online on different websites. The type of information you might need might be different. It could be images, it could be text, it could be documents. Um, we might be researching from books. We might be taking photos ourselves. These are kind of three different places: things that are live in front of us, things that are on the web, things that are stored on our computer. And having a centralized approach to collecting and organizing that is very useful because everything we know is going to go to the same place. If you think of these three different places, a lot of the time your websites get saved to your favorites, or you copy and paste it onto a document. A PDF gets stuck in downloads, which can be very hard to find again. Books are by your side, but then maybe you have to go back to the library. So ProStudy basically is a centralized approach to your research. Someone just asked, these recorded? Yes, these are being recorded, and they will be sent out to you all tomorrow as well, so you can watch them again. When you use ProStudy, you essentially build a library of your sources. It creates links back to the original sources as well, so you can see where you got that at the time, which again, over a long period of time, is very handy. Everything we collect can basically be organized and then exported into a Word document for us in a report format. So we can kind of start implementing our research into written form of our essay or whatever we need to hand in. And it'll even reference that in your desired style. It has over 9,000 styles built into it, so you can pick one that suits you best, which is always good. It's essentially a database of all of your research over the period of time. The essay license is a course long, so the entire journey at university, you're going to have that. Education licenses could be 3, 5 years long, however long you kind of want them to be. Your research is all going to be in one place. It comes with a companion app, the Project Assist app, and that allows you to view your projects on your phone, collect on your phone, take pictures, and do some other wonderful things as well. So we'll be looking at that today too. As well as being able to collect and organize our research, we've got things such as the Research Assistant, which helps us when we're analyzing larger amounts of text and trying to find the important bits, the important details, and getting a quick overview straight away. So some great features there built in too. And this is all web app based, so it's on our devices: PC, Mac, Chromebook, phone, iPhone, Android. Your projects are never going to be far away. Who's ProStudy for? Who can make use of this program? I think everybody, once they see it, thinks, yeah, I wish I had this at university. But perhaps you're in a position of authority where you recommend products to students. If you're an assessor, you're going to come across students with conditions like dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, where students are really struggling with the organization of research. Research should be it is all in those different places. To manage that can be quite difficult, but if you can add some centralization, that's going to make it far easier to manage, and that's what ProStudy does. So certainly helping us organize our information. That process can be very overwhelming, and that might, being related to your mental health conditions. You might have anxieties around being able to complete these large pieces of work. Creating an essay, getting it ready for the deadline, doing the final dissertation. It's going to add a lot of stresses to your, study journey. But again, if it's centralized, if it's collected, it's safe, we know where it is, then that's hopefully going to alleviate some of those anxieties. ProStudy takes the stress out of collecting, because you can do with one action what would normally take up to 3 different bits. So it's a productivity tool. So if fatigue's a factor, you can get more done quickly. Concentration's an issue as well. We kind of capture a lot of information by not having to do as much work, which is always useful. So we can maximize our potential when we're ready. And I think it just kind of helps get started. You know, if you can break a project down into categories, then you've got a bit of an aim spot then to go and do some research, find something, put it in there, find the next bit, put it in there. And, you know, before you know it, you're actually building something, something is taking shape. And I think that really helps you get started. So, as our case study student Tom used to say, what could take 2 days can take him an hour. I like he says that, but it could definitely make your life quicker and easier and your research be more accurate and safe where it's going to be. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a look. So, what does the student do when they need to set up ProStudy? Or even yourselves if you have a license. And I'll be reaching out if you haven't got one. You can request one for me when I send you the video tomorrow. We need to set our ProStudy up. So everybody gets a link to the website, prostudy.co.uk. And if you literally click go to ProStudy online, it'll take you to this page. And you can get started in 3 easy, simple steps. 1, register your account. 2, install the Chrome extension. And then you can log in and start a project. So when you click register, it takes you to this page. That's where you enter your license key. This is where you put your name, your email address, your institution, confirm your age. And then over on the right-hand side is where your account gets created. So you give yourself a username that you're going to remember, because that's how you log in, and a password as well. So once you've done all that, you'll be able to log in. But in order to collect, we need the ProStudy extension. So that's step 1, done. Step 2, install the extension, which again you do from this page. So you just click, and it'll take you to the Chrome store. You can use ProStudy on Microsoft Edge. You'll just need to install and enable the ability to add Chrome extensions in the Edge browser. So you can still go to the same page. It'll just put a little message up saying, download this extension to your Edge browser and just allow that if it hadn't already been set. You'll see here it says remove from Chrome, but that's where it says add to Chrome when you've got it. So what happens then once you've got an extension is click on that jigsaw piece and you'll see where all your extensions are. And you can see my ProStudy ones there. And I've even pinned it so it's even easier to find, which is the ProStudy symbol there. And again, I think if you're a trainer, that's a great thing to do with the students so they know exactly where they need to go. Because when you click on that, it loads up the extension. It will ask you on the first time, or if there's been an update, to log in again. So you'll put your username and your password in here, and then it will change to this symbol. And then get to ProStudy. You can just click the ProStudy title, or if you're still on this page, you can click that link there, and that'll take you straight there too. And that'll take you to here. So any new ProStudy account will have just one project in, and that one project will be the demo project. And this is just a resource we've added in so users can see what a project in progress looks like. An assessor can use that to show to a student, but you know, you're going to use it yourself and you can create your own projects. So to create a new project in ProStudy, you just click the plus sign, and then you give your project name. So I'm going to call it Deep Dive Demo. And then we click the tick button, and that creates the project title. But what we need to do now is we need to create our categories. So we've got some areas that we want to do some research in. So again, you can put your categories whatever you like. It could be related to areas of study for the essay. It could be perhaps more linear in what the essay is broken down into, the certain sections. You know, it's up to you. You use the plus sign, and I'll keep it simple today. You know, maybe I'm just doing it kind of like an essay needs an introduction, it needs a methodology, it needs a conclusion, just for 3 categories. So I'll write introduction. And then if you click on the color before you tick it, you can choose what color you want that to be. So again, you know, any color you like. Then you use the plus sign again for your next category. And then I can color that whatever color I'd like it to be. And I'll do it one more time. So I've got 3 categories. We'll have one more. Right, purple looks good. Awesome. The categories are there, to be easily added because students come up with new ideas all the time. They want to go down a different rabbit hole. They want to work on the structure. And again, once you've added categories, if you're not happy with the order, you can pick them up and you move them just by grabbing the three dots and putting it above where you want to go. Also, when you made your project, you'll be able to see if you go over to your extension on the right-hand side, the project list will now have increased and our deep dive demo is there. And you can see that the categories are there as well. Just to explore the other buttons, because as I said, we are doing the deep dive today. We're looking at everything. The drop-down arrow lets you view the references for that project. We haven't collected anything yet, and you can tell by the zeros in each one. If we need to edit that, we want to change the color or change the name, you can copy a whole category and send it to a different project as well. That might be, just the way you're using Prostudy. You don't have to create a project for every single assignment. You might create a project for your general reading that you do during the week for a module. So it could be the module title and you make categories every week. And then when an essay gets set, you might already have resources that are going to be part of that essay, and that way you can easily move a category to a project with those drop-down arrows there. And you can even delete a category as well if you need to. So we've created our project, we've broken down our categories, so now's probably a good time to start researching, find some information. We're ready to go. And that's the easy thing about Prostudy. If we're on a web page, we start reading, we find something that's useful. It could be a direct quote that you're going to reference, or it might be a whole paragraph that you're going to paraphrase. Simply select the text like I've just done, right click, and now you can save that content to Prostudy. Because we've got the extension, we can see that there. And we can see that we can put that in any project that we've got, and then within any category within that project. So you hit that, and that's how it collects it for you. If you want to, you can go back to your project. You can click on a category, or you can hit the refresh button, and that will update with any new additions into the project. They will come over shortly. But you don't have to do this every time. Once you start collecting different bits from a project, it will start to automatically update for you. So all I would say recommending is make sure you've got your project selected, and then it's very easy just to start reading, start collecting your information, and then add it to the project. And whenever you feel ready, you can go back, and as you can see, it's starting to update with what we've been collecting into our project there. One thing I think is always useful is you'll see when I collect some information here, when I right click, saving the content to Prostudy, I can put it in any particular project. But if you want to be a bit more focused, you want to get distracted by the other projects that you've got, maybe some projects are old projects that you don't need to see anymore, then in the extension, there's a tool called the Visible Projects. So you click on here, and this will show you what projects you're currently looking at. But if you're like, today, I'm only working on the deep dive, don't want to get distracted by anything else, or maybe accidentally put things in the wrong project, and I can show you what you do if you do make that mistake later on. You'll see now, if I come to select some text, I'll save the content. There's only one project I can possibly put that in, and I can put that in whatever category I'd like it to go into. Let's move on to another tab. In fact, actually, before I move over, we've just been grabbing text there, but if it's a table or an image that's in a web page, right click on top of the image, and you can add it to the project that way as well. One thing I like about Prostudy is we don't have to keep going back to that tab if we don't want to. We can just stay focused. A lot of people do get easily distracted by moving around on the screen, having too much assistive technology in their face. When we're here, even this time I'm on an online PDF. I can select that text. I can add that content. I can go to the next tab. And these are all different resource types. We've got text on the web page, text from an online PDF. This time I've got text that I can't select, which could be in a textbook, an online textbook, or a Google book like we have here. That's when you just need to use one of the other tools in ProStudy to grab that information for you. So we go onto the extension and we use the image OCR capture. We've got several tools in here. I can use crop and transform, and that'll allow me to kind of trim down, so I'm just getting the section of text that I like. And then once I'm happy, click continue. And you will see that it is saving this as an image to begin with. But if I click the OCR button down the bottom, it will turn that into accessible text for me that can be edited and used differently. And this is an interesting part that is just brought up for us. You can actually see these other areas that ProStudy is collecting information into. We can see it's got a link back to the source there. We can see there's the title here as well. There's even a space to add the author. In fact, we can see that the author is actually up here, so we can move that. Put that into that section if we like. We'd even add a comment if we want. We can save that. Because what I want to show you is if we go back to our project, and as you can see, everything's starting to increase now. Every time you collect something with ProStudy, it becomes a research tile. And that research tile's got a lot of really useful information in for us. Where's the first thing we grabbed? I think it would be this one here from the tables website. So we have a title of where it came from. We have the date and time that we took it, which is always handy. We took the text. ProStudy's grabbed these bits of information for us. And if we actually click in information, you can see a full breakdown of what that information consists of. So we've got a title. We've got an author, we've got a URL, we've got the content because we took that bit. There's a publisher being grabbed for us as well, and the content's labeled as a web page. And that allows us to create that reference preview that we've got there. And that's where I was talking about in the slides, where ProStudy is really useful for students because it is one action of us grabbing that information. Well, I'll say two, select the text, right click, and then save it to the project. But we just took the text. But ProStudy took the title, the author, and if we didn't have any assistive technology, that might mean that we need to open up a Word document, copy the text, paste it onto there because we want to save it to write in our assignments. But we need to reference properly, so we need to go back, find out who wrote it, take note of the author, find out what it was called, take note of the title, note down the date that we accessed it. All that information is collected automatically for ProStudy. And if anything's missed, we've got it clearly labeled in our form to fill out so we can grab that ourselves. And then we'll hit save. Excellent. Even things like online PDFs, if you click on the info, we have this little button down the bottom here, which is add ISBN or DOI. So if you have an online book, it'll have an ISBN number. If you have a academic paper or journal, it should be given a DOI number as well. If you locate that DOI or ISBN number, which again is at the top of most books or papers like I've got here, you can go back to ProStudy, add ISBN or DOI, whichever one you've got out of the two, paste it in, click add, and that will automatically populate that information for you as well, which will make life a lot easier. And hit save. So again, we're getting research, it's getting organized, it's getting accurate, and it's all in a safe place. Okay, so that was all very text-based research, but we can do other things. We did grab an image before, but you can also annotate images if you'd like to. So this is a newer feature if you've not seen ProStudy in a little while. It's based part in the image OCR capture, but it uses the other buttons across here. So we cropped and transformed before, but this time I'm going to annotate instead. So we have a picture of some data there. Maybe our task is to analyze that. So we're going to give ourselves a bit of a visual cues to remember what to do. So I'm going to get the rectangle, I'm going to draw it around this part. I can set a color here of what that needs to be. I can then maybe get myself a little line because I'm going to write a little note, highlight this particular part of the results because monitors are most profitable. So that might be the advice I'm giving. So I'm going to add some text and create that note. If only I could type. There we go. And of course, that's going to need resizing because it's way too big. But you can easily annotate, could be an image, could be a table, graph, what we've got there. And that can be part of your project if you wish. So you just hit continue. And again, even the image will get referenced. It's got the author, it's got the link, it's got the title of the image in there for us as well. And we can save that to the project. And other media types like YouTube videos can be added quickly to ProStudy too. So you can click on a YouTube video. I can go over to my extension, and then I can click the YouTube capture. If I wanted to go into a different part of the project, I can list that in the category section, hit YouTube capture, and that's going to put that video in the project as well. Let's go back to our project. And again, everything is starting to populate nicely now. And even that YouTube video has made its way there already. You can play it directly in the project if you like. You can full screen that. And again, everything is one place. It's easy to find. It's centralized. The whole point of ProStudy. Okay. We've done lots of online bits of research, different resource types. What about documents that have been sent to us? Maybe someone sent us a PDF that's got really good information in. Maybe the PowerPoint slides from the lecture last week that we downloaded. That could have some good information in for our project. Maybe our own notes that are in a Word document. ProStudy does allow you to bring your files into your project and capture the exact text from the file. So you'll see on our project here, there's the file section. If I click into there, we can then upload documents into ProStudy. So I'll click upload. We're going to add this to our deep dive demo. I'm going to choose as many as 10 if I'd like to for the project. So I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to go find, not email attachments, file examples. There we go. I've got PDF, I've got a Word document, or a couple of Word documents, PowerPoint, I've even got an Excel file. All those file types I can grab. I can do them all at the same time as well. And it literally takes less than a minute. I think it takes less than 10 seconds. It's done. All these are here now. They can be downloaded onto a different device. If I've opened my project because I'm on a web page, I can open this anywhere, download it to a different computer. If I want to open up my human geography semester week 2 notes, let's open them. And what it does now, rather than opening it as the type of file it was before, it opens it within the browser. And that means that you can use ProStudy's collection tools to collect the exact information you want. So I can highlight a section, I can right click, I can save that just how I was before into whichever category I'd like it to go into. So that's how you can grab any material that's on your device and collect it for your project as well. So we've done on the web, we've done on the device. Now we're going to look at the Project Assist app that comes with ProStudy. So I'm going to show you my phone now. So bear with me 1 second while I get into this. My computer is here. There we go. We've got my phone. There is the Project Assist app there. So again, one thing you will need to do when you first download this is obviously get it from the Play Store or the Apple Store. And then you log in with the exact username and password as you do with the Pro Study Online project. And after that, it just automatically logs you in. So you can, if you want to, start new projects directly on your phone. So what we're doing now is perhaps leaving the classroom, leaving the lecture theatre. Maybe we're on placement. Maybe we're on a trip. So we want to start a project that we've not started yet. So you can go to New Project, Title. So it could be Field Trip. Then we can add categories. We can rename those if we want to, and you can set the color by clicking on each color and then hit save. And then you can get your project created that way if you like. So you can very quickly make projects directly on your phone. And then you save the project there once you're done. Project saved. So you can do that. But you'll see now, all my projects are here. There's my deep dive demo. If I go back, you can go to existing projects and that takes you to the same spot we've just arrived at. So if I go to deep dive demo, click on that section, I can see the categories that I've made there, and I can view everything that I've collected so far for that project. So these are all the research tiles that were in the introduction. There's even my little annotated graph there. If I want to visit the web page, you can click on the source, open the URL, and it takes you back to that exact web page. And there we go. You can see it even scrolls down in the documents. If you took it further down, you can see the exact text that you grabbed. And it'll do that on the computer as well. I'll show you that when we move back. So the Project Assist app is very good for viewing what you've already got, but we can add to it as well. So if we click the back arrow, we can go back to our project and we've got two buttons. We've got a web button and we've got a camera button. If I click the web button, it will start us off at Google. We can do a search. Sorry. Apologies to that. I'm looking at soil erosion on the Adriatic coast. Once I've done that, I can hit the search button on my keyboard, and that will give me some results. I can then view a page, start reading, and then if I want to capture a quote or paraphrase a section, I can highlight that, and then I can hit capture. And again, just like it does on the computer, everything is going to the project, going into the category. If I go back to methodology, there's that coastal erosion website. There's the exact bit that I took, all there ready for us. So if I'm on the bus on the way in, if I'm commuting, if I'm just away from my computer, maybe I'm just downstairs and I don't want to go up to my computer. I want to sit on the sofa and do some work there. Here you go. You can do that with the app. So we can do web research, but we can also take pictures too. So if I click on the camera, you can see two options at the bottom. My menu is just slightly in the way, but you can take photos or you can select photos from your gallery. So if you take a photo, it'll just open up your camera and then you can take a picture of whatever you need. And again, this could be a lab report. We could be in the lab documenting an experiment. Maybe we need to take a picture every hour to see if anything's changed. Maybe we're on the field trip and there's some interesting things that are going to be referenced in our report. We want to take images of that. Photos are always handy. So we take a picture, we click OK, and that is in our project. And we just click save. And what's nice is it lets us give it our own name. It's not saved like a code file somewhere. It's in the project. It's named. We know exactly what it is. It's the keyboard. Click OK. And then we can save that to our project. But the other thing you can do with the camera, which is interesting, is if we take a photo of text, we can make that text more accessible. So if I click take photo, take a picture of the page. And there's a bit of shadow there, but it is getting dark now. We'll click OK, but we can retry if it looks out of focus for any reason. But it looks pretty good on my end. So I'm going to click OK. And we can actually, like we did before, we can OCR this if we want. Click the OCR button down the bottom there. And that will turn that into typed text very quickly, which is great. We can scan the barcode as well to get the reference information. So that's not all, let's get a nice correct reference for us. So we'll scan the barcode, hit that button at the top. You can type in the ISB number manually, but a long code. So let's use the camera, much easier. Flip the book over, find the ISBN number, and there you go. It's scanned that up. It'll search that book information for you. You've even got a picture of the book so you can see what's there. And we've got the title gathered, the author, the publisher, the year, all there. Fantastic. Let's use that. So it could be a tool on a field trip, could be a tool on placement, could be a tool in the library, because we don't even need to take that, if that book was in the library, we don't even need to take that out. We can just take pictures of the pages that we need, hit save, scan the barcode, get the reference information, and we know now that was in the methodology section. I'll load up my research that's in there. We should be able to see the Amazon, not Amazon book, was it Book of the Year? Here we go. There it is. And the picture of our laptop is in there as well. So that is a great asset to ProStudy. And it automatically updates. It'll just refresh itself every now and then. So we don't need to do anything else now. We can close this down. Say it's great in the library because you don't have to take the book out. You don't have to worry about taking a book home, damaging it. That might be part of your condition. You don't like having possessions that aren't yours. You might be really forgetful and get fined for your books all the time because you're not handing them back. If we take pictures of the app, it's there. If I click on my methodology, that's already there as well. That's automatically updated for us. So that's great. Cool. So that is all the collecting side of ProStudy. What I'm going to do is just show you some other tools that are quite handy during the research phase. And the first one is simple, but so useful. And it's just the ability to create a reading list for the particular project that you're working on. And that helps keep those tabs down. You can see I've got quite a lot of tabs already open. If I find something and I'm like, right, I'm going to be coming back to here quite regularly, let's add it to the project reading list. You just go to the extension, click reading list, and that's all you need to do. It'll link it to whichever project selected on the drop-down menu there. This is great if you're going in the morning, doing some research, got some different pages open. You can save them to your reading list. Let's go over again. So we've got about 3 on. If I was then to go into uni and log into ProStudy on a completely different device, that's fine. We just click reading list on here and all those links are there. I can open them up on a new page, on a new device and carry on from where I left off. So that's really helpful as well. So that's the reading list feature. Again, it's just keeping everything together, that organization, that centralization of when it comes to collecting and organizing work for a project. The next tool I mentioned in the presentation, and that was the Research Assistant. And this is great for analyzing a large amount of text. Scrolling through this because there's a lot of text here. Quite a big article. Based on psychology theories, which you can see at the title. But, let's put our student hat on again. This might be useful for us. I might have dyslexia and get reading fatigue quite easily. And there's nothing more that frustrates me of when I start reading an article, I get through a bit. It's taken me a long time to get here, and I've realized that this isn't actually giving me the best vibes. It's not information that I thought it was going to be. But because I've read through that, I am quite fatigued now and I need to take a break. So if you want to get an overview of an article on a web page, or you can do it on a document that you've got loaded like this as well. Either way, go onto the extension and go to the Research Assistant. And what it'll do is analyze that page for you. And break it down to kind of short, sharp statements. It'll also bring any images and tables to the front as well. So if you need to use those, they'll be there. But you can then see what these might be. They're a lot quicker to read. We don't have that as many as the whole article. So you can see in this article, we'll take a look at the five large-scale psychology theories. Okay. This one says both classical conditioning and operant conditioning theories are primary components of behaviorist theory. Bit of a tongue twister, but there we go. I'm getting an idea of what they're talking about here. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a key concept in developmental psychology, is one of the most prominent theories within the humanistic approach. Okay. These all might be getting good vibes. And if you want them, you can actually add them straight to the project if you want. You just tick them and then you click save. And they will go to whichever category that you had open when you press the button. So that's one way of using the Research Assistant, getting a quick overview. You might take them. You might get it, say yes, but you're actually going to take that time, read it very carefully, and then you're going to take the exact quotes you want and add them to the project that way, because you know that this has been a good article now. Or you might have pressed the button, read those titles, and thought, this isn't it. I'm going to have to go and find something else. But still feel fresh. I still feel ready to go. And I'll find that information as well, and I'll keep working and having that to take a break because I can't read anymore. So Research Assistant, very powerful tool within ProStudy. That's there. You can also augment text when you're reading. If you want to make it easier to read and you find the open dyslexic text easier, it will change it into that style for you. Once you've got it open, it does it across all the pages in your tab. And you'll see that there as you go along. So that's an option as well for those who like using that particular font. Okay, we'll look at some more accessibility bits inside the ProStudy app in here. So there is an accessibility section. Click into here. It's where you can set up which color you'd like to use and customize that if you don't like the colors that are there. It's got a list of different fonts that you can use as well. And then finally, you've got the zooming tools as well. This is better to show if I actually go to the research tiles. I like it on a kind of 3-tile wide approach. That works well for my screen. But you might want it a bit larger, and you do have that ability. So we're not losing any of the buttons there, but we can see our research tiles as well. So you've got that option too. I'm going to put it back on my about 90%. I quite like it there. That looks good. Cool. Okay, we've done the research. We need to do some organizing. It's organized quite nicely already into our categories, and we can see the little numbers next to each one of those. But you can further organize it within a category as well. If you've got, you'll see here the little button, the little pin. This particular tile might be really important, so we can put a pin on that, and that puts it into a pin section away from the rest of it. That, as I said, that was really important. Maybe there's an action I need to do with that, so we can actually add a comment as well. You can add a comment to your tiles, and these get put as Word comments when you export over. So maybe this was really important because this wanted to be my opening quote. So I'm going to use this in intro for opening quote. Okay. And then once you've got that, you can see if they get pins or they get quotes added to them, they will have highlighted. You can also add emojis onto the next ones as well. So if you're really happy with one, you can put that on. That just allows you to do things like filter. So you can see filter any bits there. You'll also see that we can also tag things. You'll see there's a untagged option on there. We've got images and tables. Maybe we want those in separate sections to the text. So if you go into info, you can actually create a tag in here. So I can just put image, press enter, hit save. That now creates that with that tag. And then we'll put that in a separate section in the project. It's all good. I saved that. Close. Might have just had a little moment here. Oh, there we go. I'll just try that again. Let's put my tag in. Ah, the tag's created anyway. We'll put that in. Click save. There we go. They're both in there now. It was just had a little bit of an internet blip. Again, we're separating things out within the categories. So if you need that extra level of organization, you've got that there as well. As I said, I am showing you all the features of ProStudy today. Not everybody uses every feature. This might be useful for potentially the dissertation or a student doing a master's or a PhD. A lot of students, when I used to train on ProStudy, were quite happy just using the categories, but the ability is there should you need it. I forgot to show one of the fundamental parts as well, which is every time you collect something, if you want to revisit the website, you just click on the link, and it'll just take you back to the page, and it'll show you the text there as well. Obviously, we did that on the phone, but you can do it on the computer too, which is great. We can view things a little bit differently as well. So the view button here, actually look at it as a compact view as opposed to tiles. And that just takes the text away and you can just see the headings. You can also view this in a more detailed section where it looks at where the info stuff is. And I like looking at this as well to make sure that my referencing is looking good. All the titles, yes. All the hyperlinks, yes. All the authors are there as well. Brilliant. Not everything necessarily has a publisher. But that's a great way of checking everything before you get to the referencing. And that's what I'm going to show you now, actually, the referencing side of things. Actually, before we get to there, let's do a bit more management while we're in here. So let's go back to the tiled view. Earlier, I said, what happens if you put something in the wrong category? So maybe this one here hasn't got any bits on it. Maybe that was accidentally captured in the introduction, but it should be in the methodology. Pick up a tile, put it on top of the category you want it to go into, and ProStudy will move it there. And you can see now we've got 5 in there and 6 in there. You can also move things by using the drop-down arrow. And that's our last button on the strip of the tiles that we haven't looked at yet. And you've got all these options. Copy the reference information, just copy the text, copy the whole tile and move it to a different project, or move the tile to a different project, which takes it out of one and puts it in another. Or you can just delete that tile, perhaps if you've collected it twice. So those are all the buttons kind of covered on there. We can also, as this is a database with all our projects, you can actually search for keywords and add it to the project. So if I write table, for instance, it knows that that one was got the word table into it, so you can find it. In fact, a few of them have, as you can see, from different projects, because we did a lot of table grabbing. So if you start a new project on a new theme and perhaps a few weeks ago you did a project on some similar stuff, type some keywords in. Maybe you can use a reference again that might be useful. This is your database of your research. Okay, let's go to the references section because we're getting close to exporting it now. The references section is where we can view what our references are going to look like before we export them. We can set our referencing style in here. We can manage our references in here as well. So it's loaded up the references for obviously our deep dive project and the introduction section currently. So we've got our references in here. If you want to see the duplications, you can, but take them away if you've obviously referenced the same bit a couple of times. You can see all the source types as well. You can actually order it by source type or A to Z. So again, how you like to manage that. I always think that's a nice way of seeing how balanced your work is. And you can see I've got lots of web references, but not that many journals. And maybe, the tutor pushed on wanting lots of journals this time. So let me go back and I'll find some more things. And we've got our referencing style. So I've got APA currently, which is a very popular referencing style, but maybe I'm at Coventry University and I use Harvard. So I can even type in my institution or start typing it. And it'll bring it up for me. 2 seconds. There we go. Click on that. Click save. And you'll notice in a minute these will change slightly. There we go. They've now changed to Coventry Harvard style. So you can type your institution in, you can type your referencing style in, and you can see how they're going to look there. You've also got the ability to copy references or just export the reference list too. But we want to export the whole project, so that's what we're going to finish off with. So we're going to go to export. We're going to go and find the project. You can expand that. If you didn't want the whole project exporting, you can just do a certain section, but we want to do the whole project. And then it'll ask us a few bits. Do we want to include the references? Yes. The comments? Yes, because those are actions that we wanted to do. The reading list? Why not? We'll have that too. We've got our referencing style set here. And we've also got, so you can change that as well if you needed to. But now we can also export to a docx for Word, PDF, or a CSV file, which turns it into an Excel spreadsheet. So we'll do the docx export. And then we click export to file. But again, you do have the option to link it to things like Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, or even just an export to Sotera as a reference list if you need to. So I'm going to click export to file. And this will take a moment. But basically now what we're going to get is a nice, concise report of all of our bits of research from the multiple sources that we've used in the order that we've wanted, because it's in the categories that we've selected, with our comments on, with our referencing. And it's just a great document now to be getting on with the writing side of our essay. So we're going to open up that Word document. And let's put that full screen. Enable editing. And there you go. Deep dive demo. You get the table of contents made for you. You can even use, if you go onto view in Microsoft Word and put the navigation pane on, you can actually jump around the project really easily. So you can see everything we've gathered. Everything's got its title, its date and time, its link, the text itself. There's my quote there, use an intro for opening quotes. I've got the action to use that bit of research for. I can skip to different parts of the project. There's the picture of my keyboard. I can go down to my reading list. This is a hyperlinked reading list, so you can jump back to those sources if you want to. But then you've also got your bibliography, which is in alphabetical order, in your referencing style, which is just going to save so much work for the students and obviously really improve the accuracy of their referencing as well. And that is our deep dive into ProStudy. I can't believe I managed to do it in nearly exactly an hour, but there you go. I hope you've enjoyed seeing it. Just to kind of summarize, ProStudy is a research organizing referencing tool that centralizes the approach to collecting and organizing your research. And as you can see, it's got a lot of tools to help with that we've looked at today. But if you put it in its simplest terms, you create a project, you find what you want, you select it, you right click, it's there, it's safe, it's where you need it to be. Good question. Wilco's just asked handwritten text handling. So you can take pictures of handwritten text. It's not going to OCR handwritten text, so it doesn't have that ability, but you can obviously put the handwritten notes and add them as images in if you'd like to. Certainly wouldn't work with my handwriting anyway. I don't think any kind of technology would. Everybody, no, thanks very much. Glad you enjoyed the presentation and thanks for staying with me. I know an hour is a lot of time for the end of the day. So, we can view the project again afterwards, the video, because we have recorded. So I'll get that stopped as well. I'll double check. I think there might be a few questions in the Q&A as well. So I'll look out for those. Does that work in your browser PDF, right clicking to get the source? The file's loaded directly into the computer. So that's an interesting point in terms of when you're collecting PDFs. I'm just going to stop the recording now, just as we go through these questions. But actually, no, we can leave it on. Let's go. So one of the offline PDFs was in stuff. I put it in. It's my notes, wasn't it? In the methodology. Human geography notes. So yeah, if you click the link there, it won't load. Well, actually, it will load. So there you go. Yeah, because you've uploaded the file into ProStudy, it will then load it back into there for you. There. So you can click that. It won't give you a link to where the file is in the computer, or in order to collect from PDF files, you will have had to already loaded those into your ProStudy project, as they will now be in your file section here. And that way it links to the project there. And again, it shows you where you caught it from. So it's great to relocate those. And interesting thing about tags, could you add tags at the same time as the research assistant? Currently, no, but I do love feedback on any bit. So that's an interesting point. Maybe that's something we could add in. I'll pass that on to developers. So that's like that bit of feedback there, Sam. I think there will be some feedback on a form after this as well, questionnaire. So anything else you could put in there too. That'll be great. I will stop the recording now, but I think there might be some more bits of chat in there too. So I'm just going to see